So now a heat in the Princess Elizabeth Cup between Shrewsbury School and the Great Marlow School. Steve Redgrave's old school.
Yeah, our chairman, he learned to row there back in the 1970s. Famously, at 14 years old, Steve was picked out by Francis Smith, the head of English, and encouraged to go down and row. The rest is history.
We see the stillness, the calmness, quiet water on the start.
Go!
And the legs press down, the blades build up the force, and the boats pop out. And Shrewsbury School have made a great start. Great Marlow School looking to stay right with them. So we look at Oliver Peace in the stroke seat.
Yeah, the Marlow crew are a fair bit lighter actually than their opposition from Shrewsbury. 74 kilos average weight pace, 80 kilos. That's a little bit of a difference. The conditions very benign here, so there's not an advantage in the wind. But it looks like the Shrewsbury crew have really gone up far. Look at that blistering pace they're setting.
They are a really strong start from Shrewsbury. They are probably the more experienced at 8s racing here at Henley, and the crew really moving nicely together. We're up there at about 42 strokes a minute still in the Shrewsbury crew, and really trying to hurt the Great Marlow crew now while they can, as the crews are still settling into the pace. And we see the Great Marlow crew now, they'll be looking for that pace. It'll be Edward Allen in the coxing seat. We're asking the crew to settle into a rhythm. They're seeing the Shrewsbury crew still moving away from them now as they come past that quarter mile mark. Dominic Sullivan we see in the stroke seat of the Shrewsbury School crew, and last year he got to the Friday of the Forley Cup with Globe. Now he's moved into Shrewsbury School and represented Great Britain in Munich as part of their junior team.
They came into the race pretty confident. They've beaten the opposition by nearly 30 seconds previously over 2K, so they have a pretty confident feeling. And sitting on the start with that confidence is really worth something. That might explain the blistering way they just were able to get away, feeling that was not going to be an expensive way to start. Looking at the Great Marlow School now, just coming through the barrier, and you can see the difference in the pace of the crews, and a little bit of concern on the face of the young strokeman there, Oliver Peace, as he tries to get their crew into a sustainable rhythm in the middle, but he knows he's got his work cut out to get back on terms. They won't be able to see out of the corner of their eyes, the Shrewsbury crew now. They've got too much distance, and that's a disconcerting feeling, and you've just got to trust in rowing well and rowing long and rowing hard, and hope that you're able to get back into a better rhythm, and that the other crew have gone off in a more expensive fashion and are paying the price. But that's not the case as we look down the course at Shrewsbury. Very controlled, very strong, and looking back at their opposition from a commanding position.
We see it is a commanding position for the Shrewsbury crew, as we see in the stroke seat. Thomas Shields takes a look back over his shoulder. He's had 4 years at Henley Royal Regatta, 2 years at the home internationals. Wins in the junior men's 8 and the junior coxed 4, so he's an experienced cox. He'll want to look after his crew and think about how they do a good job today as they've settled into a long and steady pace in the Shrewsbury crew.
And the Shrewsbury crew, I think, have had a season of getting better and better. 6 in the school head, then they had a photo finish in the A final at the National Schools Regatta against St Edwards, 2nd at Marlow, so it's a season that's getting better and better. And their first round here at Henley in the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup is looking to set them up well. So they'll be looking to continue to consolidate and build and build. Nice to have that kind of trajectory as you come into a regatta like this, Greg.
Well, it's about momentum really, isn't it? And you get things working, you get confident, you get positive, you get a good win under your belt, and then you can go back and you relax and you enjoy your bowl of pasta a little bit more on the evening between the races. You sleep well and come back ready to race again the next day. And I think the only thing for Shrewsbury now is they don't want to shorten up, they want to keep their length as they look to just consolidate their position now through the second half of the course.
It must be quite something rowing for Great Marlow School, the school that produced Steve Redgrave, 5 times Olympic gold medalist, of course now chairman of Henley Royal Regatta. who started at only 14 and stroking a Cox 4, went to win a J16 gold medal at the National Schools Regatta back in the day, and became, early, very dominant in the Olympic team in 1984, picking up his first medal. So that's the standard that these guys aspire to, an inspiring place to be rowing. Not the biggest squad, and doing credit to their coach as they continue to hold their form under the pressure of their position on the course.
Yeah, Fergus Mirison has done a great job working with Great Marlow School over the years, developing the rowing programme, giving the opportunity for these lads and the girls at Great Marlow to get into the sport of rowing, following the footsteps of Steve Redgrave if they possibly can. Most things in Marlow are named after Steve Redgrave. They've got the Steve Redgrave Sports Hall on the campus of their school, on the grounds of their school, so I'm sure they'll be in the gym, on the ergos and working hard, and qualifying here, racing in the main draw at Henley. Hopefully a fantastic experience for this crew.
So, Greg, you and I both had our first experiences of Henley rowing in this event, the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup, which was first presented way back in 1946 when the young Princess Elizabeth, now our Queen, of course, presented the trophies, so named for her. And I remember that feeling of being on this track for the first time, really awe-inspiring, frankly a little bit intimidating, to be racing on the same track as the national squad and international crews that you had only heard of and never hoped to row on the same water as. So it's inspiring, but also can be a little bit intimidating. And it's one of the reasons that athletes from all around the world want to come to Henley Regatta to experience this really unique racing environment.
It is an incredible environment. We see the race course here. They're coming down towards the finish line now. What they'll know is they'll take their boat into the boat tent enclosure, and they may well rack their boat alongside the Great Britain 8, the Australian 8, the Romanian 8, who are all here to race in the Grand Challenge Cup. And these schoolboys will find themselves alongside those heroes who they will see racing at the Olympic Games and see racing towards the weekend. And it is something that makes Henley a very special race.
I think also it's the gladiatorial, a word we perhaps overuse, but the side-by-side nature of this, but also the way the course is boomed off and buoyed off, so you really feel in a cauldron, in a focused channel as you race down the track, and you don't get that anywhere else in the world. The one-on-one racing with this intensity, and even on the first day of the regatta, cheers from the crowds all the way along the stewards' enclosure, applauding the efforts of both crews.
And they've been applauded to victory, the crew from Shrewsbury School ahead of the Great Marlow School, and we see confirmation of that win in the Princess Elizabeth Cup for Shrewsbury School.